Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's show, I went nursery shopping. Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. In the sense that I have a branch that splits into two shoots in here, so I'm probably going to cut this thing off right about here this fall. I've taken my knob cutter and I've gotten rid of some of that. So I just put them on the bottom, growing upwards into the bag. We fill it up with trees and then we water as we need to. We try to get rid of those air pockets. So, another hot day in Minnesota in early July. We still have another week of upper 80s and lower 90s. We got the thunder rolling above us. The rain is trying to come. There's so much moisture in the air. So there's a good chance the downpour is going to start any moment now. I'm hearing some drops as I speak. So I'm under a little bit of protection and the camera's in the garage. But I wanted to talk about some of the trees that I just got at the nursery that I love to go to. I go to Gerton's and I love going there to see all the trees that are in the discount section. I typically go nowhere but the discount section. And as the rain starts to come down, I'm going to shift into the garage. So it's a little dangerous to be outside right now because not only did it start to rain, but we're getting some hail. So I didn't think we were going to get any hail with this all of a sudden instant rain cloud that was forming. And I'm just hoping that my trees down there aren't going to get overly pelted with large hail. So I have to actually rapidly think if there's a couple of trees out like there I'd like to remove. I might have to get those right now. So I will turn the camera off, pause, and do a quick little thought process here. We're definitely getting some pea-size hail here. It's one of the bigger chunks. Those can do some serious damage to our trees. But upon inspection, going out there, there's a couple of leaves certainly getting pelted, but the hail seems sporadic enough or spread out enough that by the time I moved 2 or 3 trees, this is probably going to be past us and just rain, or the rain will stop completely. Mostly rain now. So, as it pours outside, I'll let you know that one of my most absolute favorite things to do is to go to the nursery. So, in Invergrove Heights in Minnesota, I go to Gerton's a lot. It's pretty close to my home. And they have a wonderful discount section, and I go nowhere else. So I typically go to the discount center, and I get trees from $3 to $25. I had the great opportunity to interview one of the Minnesota Bonsai Society members recently with some of the archival footage I'm putting together for the club, and I got to talk to one of the members about bonsai on a budget. Bonsai on the cheap. A lot of people coming into this art form, this hobby, overwhelmed when they walk into a meeting with all kinds of experienced bonsai enthusiasts and craftspeople, artisans, and it can be overwhelming. And so one of the things he talks about, and one of the things I believe in severely, is being able to afford bonsai. So if you got a couple of nice tools and you get a whole bunch of trees that are under 10 bucks, 20 tops, you can have a ton of trees in your yard, in your garden, in your bonsai collection that you can start to work on and learn from. And so that's what I do all the time, and I talk about it a lot on the channel here. So today I went to Gerton's and I picked up 7 more trees. I got a tree variety that I've never really paid much attention to before, heard about before, but they were $7, $8, and $9. So I got 3 or 4 of them, so I've got 4 trees for under $40 that I can cut and wire and try to make the leaves smaller and test them out. Now it's pouring rain out there, so I have one just outside the garage because I thought I would get it a little bit watered since this downpour is something we desperately need in Minnesota. We've had all this heat and the moisture and humidity. The tropical trees are loving it. But we needed rain. We needed something to just kind of lift this heat. It's still going to be here for another week or so, but the rain is glorious. So let me go get this tree. I'll get a little wet in the process, And we'll talk about the first one. The rain continues to come down in sheets and buckets. Yeah. We're in the garage with a cranberry bush. So this is the Bailey Compact American Cranberry Bush. That's going to have white flowers in the spring, and then it's going to turn a really nice red color in the fall. So one of the things we appreciate in Minnesota more than anything else, besides our 10,000 lakes, is the 4 seasons that are beautiful. Okay, maybe winter could be a little less, but beautiful 4 seasons, and the fall season is the beautiful colors of our trees and shrubs and bushes. And in my backyard, hopefully this fall will be one of those first years where I have a little bit of everything. The greens, the yellows, the reds, and the oranges, all the different colors of fall. This one will be a really, really very nice tree that will turn a great color. So when I noticed these in the bonsai nursery, or in the nursery, when I'm looking for a bonsai, all of the trunks that had one trunk had a big bulge at the bottom. Because this tree, as you look at it, tends to really grow in clumps of 3 or more, and then it bulges. It's one of those trees that when you do have multiple branches coming from an area, it looks like it's going to bulge, because history has shown that in its early life so far. So the only one that I liked enough to grab home, even at $8, was this multi-trunk. Because I've got 2 or 3 really strong trunks right at the base that I can have this multi-clump style bonsai, and I'll cut all the other little ones away. And then of course I'm going to bring it way down, and as I'm looking at these leaves, they almost have a little bit, when they're young, they almost have a little bit of a feel of a maple look to them. So this is going to be a very fun tree, very neat. I like the color of the bark. It's kind of a neat color and texture, and there's back budding right here, there's back budding right down here, so I know I can cut all these down and it's going to bud new shoots. So we have the cranberry bush, so the Bailey Compact American Cranberry Bush, and when you see one of these blazing orange stickers, of course, it means I got it from clearance, and this one was $7. If it dies next year, I won't be too sad, but I've been able to keep 90% of my trees alive. I think that's pretty good. And when you're only spending $7 to $10, it's been worth it. So there's one tree. Let's go get another one for you. All right, we're back with another tree. Forgive my lack of brain power when it comes to memorizing names. I've always been horrible at it, and I forget. I can tell you that this is a red cedar. It's juniper, but I can never remember, of course, the scientific names. But I wanted to give it to you so you guys know what I'm looking at here. They're calling this one a Taylor juniper. It's a Juniperus virginiana Taylor. And so it's basically a juniper, but they call it the Taylor Eastern Red Cedar. And there were a couple of these on the lot today, and now these were a little bit higher priced. These were at $15, but again, I wasn't even second guessing that, because if one thing I've learned about my nursery tour visits and what other people will say left and right is that when you see a tree that speaks to you, if you see a tree that you like and you go, it won't be there when you come back. It just will not be. It happens all the time. So this one has a little bit of depth to it. Who knows why it was in the discount section? It looks really, really good. When I went down to see the Nabari, where that trunk meets the dirt down there, it's nice, and it's gonna flare out eventually. I got a nice low branch here in the middle that's died, but it splits off into 2. Now, one of the things I've discovered more and more as I've been out in nature in the last couple of years looking at trees, because I look at them different than I ever used to before, is I'm amazed at how many trees are split into 2 and then they have 2 apexes and they go just fine. So trees aren't just a Christmas tree shape, right? It's just not a room maple tree that's perfecto, right? It's nature, and the sun comes from different angles and makes the leaves and the branches and everything go out different ways. So again, trees don't have to be this perfect one shape. This one has 2 trunks, and so it's kind of like father-daughter, father-son. And I've liked the images on a lot of trees where they have 2 trunks going up, but then it looks like one kind of triangle, which you can see the gaps in between and stuff. So that was my thought process with this tree. I liked how it's split. They're going up, they're gonna be nice and tall. We'll make this one much shorter and this one taller, but then their branch structure will be triangular still, and I'll give it a go. So it has some nice structure in it already. I'll be able to cut some of this stuff back, cut it down, and even up here on this tall one, when I first looked at it just moments ago, I saw this in the nursery too, but this branch right here is growing almost straight up already. So if I cut this one right here already and knock off a whole foot of this tree, this will become the new apex right here. So I can do that even down here. If you look down here, you won't be able to see this as much. But here's this one right here. It's doing the same thing. It's splitting like it did down here. So I can cut the tree down to here, right here. That's almost 2 feet right here. And then this will be the dominant new leader branch. That'll be the apex. So some great branch structure for me to already cut it back and have it look fairly normal within a short amount of time. Now again, we can't have a bonsai overnight. It's going to need lots of work. It's going to take its time. But it had just a really good foundation for me to have this 2-trunk tree that'll still have kind of that triangle shape, but then I can already cut it back and there's already structure that's growing straight up down below where it won't even look odd or disproportionate right out of the gate. So that's super exciting. Now there were 2 of these on the lot, so I got this one because I liked the 2-trunk, and then I got another one that was a solo trunk because I wanted to try both styles. 15 bucks each. I got 2 trees for 30. Super, super great. All right, so that's the cedar. Let's go get another one. Okay, this one I'm kind of hidden in the shadows of this beast. So this is a Mohican Viburnum. This is the tree that's new to me, the Viburnum. It's a Viburnum lantana Mohican. So this guy, it was really cool to me when I first saw it, but of course it had some depth on the one side. But that doesn't detract us too much in the bonsai world. This whole side over here splits into 2, and there's hardly any life over here except for on the far right side for you, left for me, and this part is all kind of died back. You can't tell it now because it's gotten wet outside, but it has a little bit of a whitish trunk too. It's a very white trunk, which will provide good contrast with the dark leaves. Love that about this tree. I walked by it 2 times. And on the way back, when my cart was full with what I thought was going to be my purchase, I put it on there and said, what the heck, what do I have to lose? Now, you can see it's in a big pot. This is like 10 gallon, 20 gallon, and this one was 20 bucks. So I really took out all the big credit cards for this one. 20 bucks. So what I'm learning about the Viburnums is that they're going to flower, and I got 3 different kinds on this visit alone. So this one will bloom in the spring. It's going to have a white flower to it. Compact globe form of the species, creamy white flowers in early May, and then listen to this, purple bronze fall colored foliage. They don't show it on the picture, but when I looked up these pictures of these trees online, there are some really cool ambers and reds and deep purples and kind of burgundy colors. So again, my garden's just going to be beautiful with this tree, with this kind of whitish trunk and these colors down the road. So I could gin this, cut off all the dead wood and just, do some carving and look like it died away and then just took over there. I could take this entire trunk off down at the base and you won't even see it when it's inside the bonsai soil. And so it could just look like this one tree. And it had movement already. And of course, all of these little suckers down here and all these leaves down here, right here, look right here, back budding, way down here, back budding. Woody tree trunk or a bush or a shrub that back buds, we've got a bonsai, right? We can cut all of this down. This thing on that bucket is 6 feet tall. So off of the bucket, it's over 4 feet tall. And we're gonna cut it down to 2 feet next spring. We'll cut it back hard. Our goal is to keep it alive for the rest of this summer, and then we'll get it in a pot next year. And now you have to be patient. Sometimes I'll pot these in the fall or late summer. But you need your roots to get established before the long winter. So it's just a risk. So I'll transplant it next spring. Probably 95% chance I'll be doing that. I'll cut some back right now in the summer, like we can do with other deciduous type trees. I'll cut some back so the growth isn't all up here. We can start getting more back budding, and then we'll just go crazy next year. So again, the Mohican Viburnum with some great fall color again. Again, a really cool looking, it's looking like a gnarly kind of whitish color, grayish color trunk that'll have some great contrast. This is why I picked this tree. My next tree is another of the Viburnum, the Viburnum category. And this one is the Arrowwood Viburnum. And what I loved about this one is the picture had this hint of blue at it. So when I went to go look closer at what it was, there's all these blueberries on this thing. So this is going to get blueberries at some point. It doesn't tell me when on here. Blue fruit attracts birds. And it's deer resistant. We don't have a lot of deer in my backyard, but it's a good feature as well. I like the leaves on this Viburnum. So the last one, I didn't notice the leaves as much as the trunk and the structure of it. This one's a little more spindly. I'm gonna have to do some work on this one to make it look less like a bush and more like a bonsai tree. But the leaves on these, they're kind of this roundish spade looking shape with all the little edges on there. Super, super cool. And right now, not terribly big for July, which means when I bring it back and I prune it back and I put it in a bonsai pot and we keep trying to get those miniature leaves, this should have some pretty respectable leaves that have that proper perspective as far as size, right? So, ooh, another big thunder there. So I'm super excited about the blueberries on this one, and the leaves are so cool. Again, it's aesthetics. You find a tree that speaks to you, just grab it, and then you can do your research and try it. And so this is going to be a really fun one to see. A lot of these had all kinds of weird, gnarly trunks going on in there, and this one has multiple. This has a twin trunk from the very bottom, so I will keep it as a twin trunk. But then there's this big clump over here. So if everything over here, these two, those can be completely cut off probably, and I'll just go with the twin trunk. I'll keep it first as a multi-trunk and see if I like it. Maybe I'll keep it that way for the first year so it stays alive, and then we'll manipulate it. But I anticipate the twin trunk look that's kind of in the middle. Because even in the back here, there's two more trunks coming out here. So we gotta take the focus off of this multi-trunk, shrink it all down, and let it look more like a tree, all right? So this one is the Blue Muffin Arrowwood Viburnum. I have a tough time saying that word. Viburnum. Can't wait to see this one right here. Oh, we got more stuff inside. I just didn't open enough because it was wet and collecting on there. Late spring, fall fruit, yeah. Late spring bloom with the flowers, white flowers in ball clusters, kind of like a snowball. And then the fruit in the fall, which will be the blue color. So super, super excited to see what this one does. And then I got two of these. So I got two of these because I couldn't decide. There was one really cool trunk, but it was split. So sometimes when you get a tree, people have talked about this, when you get a tree that has more of a U shape, in the wind it's not going to split apart as much, but if it's a V shape, if you have strong winds, of course, boom, you can split. That's exactly what happened to this tree. Now they were selling it for $8. I probably could have gone to them and said, look, this is split right down the middle. Can I get it for $4? They probably would have said yes. I don't know. But I just couldn't bite on that one. So I bid on two of them, and this is one of them. And again, $8 trees. And a lot of these had some really cool roots that were sticking out. And I just recently got back from a trip up at the North Shore in northern Minnesota, past Duluth, up on the North Shore towards Grand Marais. And it's one thing I love about hiking on the Superior Hiking Trail is seeing all the exposed roots from the cedar trees and the other pines, and I just love the root look. And they're all growing on this rock that's overlooking some of these amazing rivers like the Cascade and the Baptism River and the Temperance River. Such great places. If you're ever in northern Minnesota, you've got to go to the North Shore. And all the roots are exposed. So I like that look. And this had some neat, it's very radial. I got a whole bunch of roots that are coming out. That attracted me to this particular tree. Now it is a twin trunk again. It seems like I'm on this twin trunk theme, but it just had the best movement, and I figured I could cut it up and make the nicest tree out of it compared to the other ones, and I really wanted to try it. So the other thing I wanted to show you on this one is, look at this guy. Right here. I looked at here and said, look at this leaf. Well, this leaf is a maple leaf. There's a maple tree that's been growing in this pot for the life of this tree at this nursery. And so now I have like about a 5 or 6 year old, just your probably average field grown maple tree as a bonus. So I got 2 trees for $8. I'll take this one out and I'll do another maple tree and maybe sell at the auction in a couple of years. So this one's cool. Now this one has red berries, or kind of a dark purplish red to purple berry. It's called the Nanny Berry Viburnum. So this one is going to be fun colors as well. So I got blue berries, I'm going to have red berries, and then these purplish berries. I got the cool white trunk, I got the darker colored trunk. These leaves are a little more oval shaped. So I've got one that has a tree that has the more spade shape with all the points. This is a round one. There's some berries forming on this already. Got some berries right here. They're actually kind of big, but when we get this thing shrunk down, who knows what berries will survive, and we'll hope to keep it small and compact. So there's the other one, and again, the clearance price ticket says $8. So there we go, the Nanny Berry Viburnum. Can't wait to work on these trees. The hardest part about going to the nursery for me is putting these trees in the yard and then just keeping them watered and taken care of for the rest of this season, knowing that I can't really play with them a lot until next season. We'll see. Sometimes I got 2 of one variety. Maybe I'll pot one up this summer and see how it does. But again, we have to pull back the reins, slow down, and take our time with our bonsai. So there's the last of the trees. I got 7 trees today plus the bonus one, so 8, all for under $100 because they were basically about 10 bucks a tree. Super awesome. So there's an update on my shopping. Thanks for joining me. If you like the channel, please say so. Tell your friends about Dave's Bonsai, and we'll get you some more updates and get some more shows cranking here in this hot, steamy summer of 2020 when we can't really go anywhere because of COVID, but we can keep working on our trees. All right, take care, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Dave's Bonsai. In the sense that I have a branch that splits into 2 shoots in here, so I'm probably going to cut this thing off right about here this fall. I've taken my knob cutter and I've gotten rid of some of that. So I just put them on the bottom, growing upwards into the bag. We fill it up with trees, and then we water as we need to. We try to get rid of those air pockets.